What is up, guys? It's your boy Falcon back again, and if on your Chevy truck Avalanche 1500, 2500, gas 5.3, 4.8, 6.0 engine, you keep blowing the PCM B fuse, this might be your issue, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so if you have a Chevy truck Avalanche 1500, 2500 and your PCM B fuse keeps blowing, I've probably fixed this issue about 15 times. Out of those 15 times, only 2 times it was a separate issue. So 13 out of 15, I say there's pretty much a pattern on these vehicles of what goes wrong with that fuse. On this issue, I've seen that PCM fuse blows as soon as you put it in there and turn on the key, it'll blow it. I've seen it that as soon as you replace the fuse, as soon as it touches it, it blows it. I've also seen it that you replace the fuse and you keep driving and maybe a week later it'll blow again. I've seen it where you replace it and maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later. It's just very, very inconsistent. When I've seen it, you know, like I said, sometimes it'll blow it within minutes, seconds, days, weeks. But 13 out of 15 times, it's always, to me, the fuel pump. Let me tell you about the other 2 times. One of the other times, it wasn't technically the fuel pump, it was a cable going to the fuel pump harness that was touching a ground on the frame, and it kept on shorting out. So you could say it's fuel pump related, but it was a cable going back there. The other time, it was a cable going into the harness, into the fuse box right here by the driver's side door. Basically that piece, that fuse goes into that fuse box over there, and then from there was a cable going into the signal lights, I believe, and that cable kept on getting hot and it basically burned that cable, a couple more cables, and that was the issue on that one. But the other 13 times, it's basically the fuel pump. On these vehicles, basically that fuse, of course, is for the PCM. I think it goes to the fuel pump relay and then the fuel pump. But the point that I'm trying to get at, it's basically a bad fuel pump. So if your PCM B fuse keeps blowing, 9 times out of 10, just from my experience, it's probably gonna be a bad fuel pump. Now, usually what I check first when that thing starts blowing, it depends, because like I said, when it blows it right away, one of the first things that I'll do is I'll go back there to the fuel pump, I'll disconnect it and replace it. And if, like, this is on the instance where this PCM fuse keeps blowing as soon as you put it in. So I go back there to the fuel pump, I disconnect it, I come and I replace that fuse. If it doesn't blow it, then that means there's probably an issue in there in the fuel pump itself. That's why it doesn't blow it anymore. And then I'll go connect it, I'll come look at this fuse, and it blew already. So that's one of the instances where I can check that there's a problem back there with the fuel pump. That's just a way that I check it. Sometimes it'll let me crank it a couple of times before it'll actually blow. When it lets me do that, then I'll start checking the fuel pressure. On this particular vehicle, I think we were getting like 5 psi of fuel pressure whenever you open up the key, and then whenever you crank it, it will actually go down a little bit. After cranking it, maybe for a minute or 2, it'll blow again. So right away, I saw that we were gonna have a bad fuel pump regardless. So I went ahead and replaced it. I'll show you the way the fuel pump looked. In this fuel pump that I'm about to show you, you'll see where the connector that goes to the actual pump itself, the little motor, it was already getting burned. It was melting. I don't know how it didn't catch on fire, how it didn't explode. I mean, this customer was very lucky that nothing like that happened, nothing that extreme happened. But that's the reason why this fuse keeps blowing. Like I said, 13 out of 15 times that I've encountered this issue, it's a bad fuel pump. So just to give you a heads up, just to give you kind of an idea what you guys should be looking for, or if you're gonna take it to your mechanic and he still can't figure it out, tell him, hey, why don't you go ahead and check the fuel pump for me? Just double check that. Even if he's gonna, let's say he needs to take it off to check it, or however he wants to check it. If he's gonna charge you an extra $100, $200, whatever he charges you to take it off, I think it's worth it than to spend more time in the labor of checking other things. So, after running into this issue, like I said, 15 times, that's one of the first things that I go check is the fuel pump, since I've seen this issue so many times. So let me show you guys where the fuse is at, how it looks. You can see what the fuse says, and then I'll show you that fuel pump that I replaced that looks all burned up. Here we go. On this one, customer had already replaced the battery, and there was already another mechanic that checked it, and they replaced all these relays and everything, but there it is. I checked the fuel pump. Like I said, it was only giving me 5 psi. This is the fuse diagram right there, and you'll see it right there, PCM, which is this one right here. So on this one right here, this is the fuse box, and this is it right here. This is the fuse that keeps blowing. Here, fuse number 20 that keeps blowing, you guys can see it right here. Like I said, also it's a 20 amp fuse right there. Like I said, I went through like 5-6 different fuses to get this fuse, to get this problem solved and to figure it out. I had a good idea of what this problem was, so let me show you guys the fuel pump and how bad it was. So here it is, the fuel pump on this vehicle. This one is the flex fuel pump. The other ones might be a little bit different, but they still come with the same issue. But I've also replaced those also being the same issue. Here it is, the actual pump itself right there. And that's the connector. Here, let me turn this. You guys can see it right there. Check out that connector. Check out how burned it is. There, you can see how that connector is already. Let me get this thing to focus. There it goes. You guys can see that connector is being melted onto the fuel pump assembly. There is some melted plastic right there on the bottom. Here is the connector from this side. Alright guys, so from my experience, that is how you're going to fix the PCM fuse that keeps blowing on your 1999 Chevy Silverado, Avalanche, wherever it is, from 1999 to 2007, which is basically this body style right here. It's gonna be the same issue. Like I said, 13 out of 15 times is the fuel pump. So I hope it helps. Alright guys, well I really hope this video helps somebody out. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell for me, share the channel. I will catch you guys on my next video. Thank you for watching, and you guys have yourselves a great day.